Wow, that sucks. I really have not been doing a whole lot of reading this year. I cannot lie. The amount of books I've read this month is only 19. That is probably the least, or sorry, this year. That is probably the least amount of books that I have read in a year, or it's 20, sorry, ever by this point. It's July. Normally I have so much more, especially because it's like, I have no school. Like, usually I read so much during the summer. Yeah, I'm just like at an all-time low point when it comes to reading right now. So I want to talk about some of my favorite standalones, because the thought of starting a new series and entering a new universe is so like daunting to me. There's no specific genre for this video. I just want to talk about standalone books I enjoyed, like one and done. I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the obvious ones, which would be obviously Lynn Painter. Okay, for authors like her, where I just have like basically every single one of their books, I just grabbed a couple of my favorites. So for me, that'll be Betting on You. 425 pages right here. But honestly, like the way Lynn Painter writes, I feel like it goes by so quick. So I definitely do feel like this is like a quick, easy read if you're into YA romance, because it definitely does feel very high school. So my next Lynn Painter book is obviously Fake Skating. I was gonna say better than the movies, but like honestly, better than the movies to me, well, I mean, now there's a sequel to it and it's like the movies, but you definitely don't have to read that. Yeah, I just really, really loved Fake Skating, and it feels very much like unattached. I feel like I did enter a whole new universe with like how developed the character relationships are and stuff, but it's just very like warming, and it's like a hug. Honestly, this feels like a very fall book to me. I read this last summer because I got an ARC for this, but I think this would be such a great fall read, if I'm being honest. Emily Henry standalones are super fun because while in Lynn Painter's, it's kind of similar in that sense where they are connected, but they're not, it's in no way a companion novel, you know? Like, Off Campus, for example, since that's everywhere right now, you could technically read Logan and Grace's book without first reading Hannah and Garrett's, but then you're getting thrown into this world with pre-established characters and a whole relationship that you didn't get to read about. Whereas in these books, it's more of cameos. Like in Funny Story, Poppy and Alex are mentioned. They like see them at the lake. And it's very subtle that like some readers don't even catch it. I just think that's a really good trait for a standalone to have. Anyways, that's just something that I really like in a standalone, because it kind of gives you the same feeling of like reading a series and then getting like, oh my god, yeah, I remember reading their book, like that was so cool, of that. And that's a theme in a lot of these books where characters from previous books are mentioned, but it's not like to the same level that they are in a companion novel series. So Emily Henry, also obviously Peel Me on Vacation, amazing. This is also a movie now on Netflix. The movie is also amazing. They did such a good job with it, I feel. Yeah, obviously the book is better though, so if you love the movie, you should definitely read this. And this is also just like peak summer read. Anyways, yeah, these are just really great if you're looking for a standalone that's a little bit more mature and more like literary focused. Oh, rather than like, I don't know. These feel like a lot more of women's fiction rather than romance, if you get what I'm saying. Next is another YA romance author, another one of my favorites, and that is Miss K.L. Walther. These are just two of my favorite books by her. Also included is The Summer of Second Chances. I don't own a physical copy of that one, but I did receive an ARC for it, and I really, really loved it. This one, I actually did a reading vlog on it last summer. I really like this one. This is a great way to start if you want to read The Summer of Second Chances, because hers also have that same like connected feel. Hers, I do feel like, are a bit more connected than anybody else's. Like Lynn Painter and Emily Henry, you can get the exact same like enjoyment and you will appreciate the book just as much regardless of if you've read any of her other books. But these ones, like, I don't think you'll fully appreciate this book if you haven't read all of her other ones. I think like characters from literally every single one of her books are mentioned. Like a really, really, really bad job at explaining that. But I was thinking of The Summer of Second Chances. That book has every other character, like basically ever mentioned at least once. A good handful of them are mentioned in the first time for everything, but like yes, you will appreciate the books so much more, and like in order to appreciate them to their full extent, I feel like you have to read her other ones. But like there's no pressure and it's still like very fun. Okay. I know Mare from The Summer of Broken Rules, her most popular book, is she plays quite a big role in this book, and then she's in it again in The Summer Second Chances. So yeah, her is definitely one that I feel like is a little bit more of a commitment. Like again, you don't need to read her other books, but it's just like your experience will be vastly improved if you do. Whereas Lynn Payne or Emily Henry is just like, oh, you like fun. If you didn't know, these characters are related, or like they actually run into these characters over here. It's more of like a little Easter egg moment where like they're quite literally connected. So there's that. Now I want to talk about some little like one-offs, like some books that I just picked up. I wasn't expecting to like love them, and I loved them. First is this, it's P.S. I Like You by Casey West. I had never picked up a Casey West book before. I'd never read anything by her. And I got this at Barnes & Noble because my uncle got me like a gift card. I didn't know what I wanted, so I was like kind of browsing. And this looked cute. So I got it. And I really, really loved this. Like it was not anything. It was exactly what I personally look for in a standalone. Like it was cute. It was fun. Like I read it super, it was easy to read. I read it quite quick. And even after it ended, like I still find myself thinking about it sometimes. Not like, I don't know, it's not like the same feeling as when you finish a series. It's just like, oh wow, that was a really good book. Like I really did enjoy this book. And that's what I personally look for in a standalone. It's just something that I enjoy. That doesn't take over my life, because that's what series are for, I feel. Like I don't want to read, I don't like sad books. Yeah, I don't want to read a standalone book that's gonna like leave me torn up inside thinking about it, staring at the ceiling. I don't want to read a standalone book that has the amount of like trauma and lore that you would get in the Boys of Tommen series. Like, does that make sense? It's just, I read standalone so I can feel like it's like a little serotonin boost. It's like, no, that's not. It's like watching a rom-com or like a little comedy movie, you know? Like you remember it fondly. You don't find yourself like dissecting it. There's no need to dissect it because it was what it was. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this was just like perfect standalone. It met like all of those categories, and I really liked it. And this actually made me go on to read her other book, Better Than Revenge, that I also thoroughly enjoyed. So Casey West is becoming like a new YA romance author that I enjoy. Speaking of YA romance authors that I enjoyed, this wouldn't be a video to discuss standalones if I didn't discuss The Goat and Liang. This, like I'm pretty sure literally everybody else, is the first book of hers I read. I believe this is also her first book. It is amazing. This also checked all those boxes, but better. Sorry, I'm like having allergies right now. But yes, Anne Liang, just like, she just has such a way of writing a romance that literally makes me feel like I'm watching a movie. Like it goes by so fast, and I'm just like eating it up. Like I literally read this book so fast. I bought the physical copy before I was reading on my Kindle, and I bought the physical copy before I even finished it because I knew I wanted to like own this book. Like it was that good. And then I read This Time It's Real by her, and I honestly think I like that one even more somehow. Her books just like, I swear they get better and better. So Anne Liang, and these are like true standalones. Like there's no connecting characters. There might be, maybe I'm just not that deep in. But as far as I've known, there's no like connecting characters. There's no, oh, he's actually his cousin, or like they're that's her, I don't know. These are like true romance standalones, which I just love, because who has time to be sitting down and buying a whole companion novel series? Not me. Okay, this one I read sort of recently, and this is another one that has some other cameoed characters, but not even a little bit do you need to read the first book before reading this one. And that is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This book was so freaking good. I listened to most of it. Actually, I think I listened to all of it as an audiobook while I was at work, because I read this while I was still in school, so I was doing a lot of closing shifts. And like literally during my closing shift, we have an hour where all I'm doing is folding down the store. So that's what I would listen to for like an hour every day. And then it was so good. Like I was listening to it while I was driving. I was listening like all the time. It was so amazing. I really, really love this book. And I like put off reading this one for so long because after I read The Love Hypothesis, when Love on the Brain came out, I bought that. And then I like kind of started reading it, but I wasn't really in the mood for a romance, so I just like put it down. And then I got on the internet and I started seeing people saying that it was like The Love Hypothesis Part 2, like it was just like a copy and paste of the same thing. Which, granted, that is sort of like, she definitely does have a formula with her books, but if you space them out, it's amazing and it's perfect. If I can understand why, like, reading them back to back, you'd be like, this is just like this all over again, like blah 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 blah. But spacing them out, they're all very good because they do have unique stuff. It's just like, I mean, there really is only so much you can do with a STEM romance to keep it like interesting and different. So the fact that she's been able to write as many as she has is already like really good. But this is definitely my favorite book of hers, and I don't think you need to read any of her other books to read this one. This was phenomenal. I loved this so much. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about some books that I don't own. So I'm just gonna like scroll through my Fable, which by the way is linked in my descriptions always if you want to like be friends or whatever. Ooh, okay. First is The Rom-Coms by Catherine Center. That one I read this year. I read it in April, and it was so good. I literally forgot how good Catherine Center's books are because I haven't read one since The Bodyguard, way back when it was a book of the month pick, which was years ago, if anybody remembers that. And yeah, that one was so good. Like, genuinely, I felt captivated. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I don't read a ton of her books because some of them do have like heavier background. Same with Abby Jimenez. Like, I really loved the books of hers I have read, but again, I read books to feel happy. I don't really want to be reminded that parents get Alzheimer's and like siblings die, you know what I mean? So I do try to stay away from romances with heavier themes, which is more commonly in adult romances, which I read less of anyway. But this was a really good one where, yes, it had heavier themes, but I feel like it was still very all around positive. And I love that. I read that book actually in like a day, which again, I haven't been reading a lot this year, so that was a big achievement for me. Okay, the next book. This one was actually one of my favorite reads of 2025, and that is Hate Mail by Donna Marchetti. This book was honestly the funniest thing I've ever read in my life. I don't think I have ever laughed that hard while reading a book. Laughed that much, laughed that often while reading a book. It was so funny. Like, it wasn't... This is something that I would reread just because it was that funny, honestly. Like, do I remember crazy details from the romance? Not really. Not really. I remember that it made me laugh and that I read it within 2 days. The only reason it wasn't one day was because I had to like put my Kindle down because it was like 2 in the morning and I had school the next day. So yeah, I think she actually released another book because I remember after I read this I saw she had another one coming out, and this was like her only book she had out, and I was so upset because I just wanted to read more by her. Okay, the last book I want to talk about, I do own it, but I didn't grab it out for this video and I don't feel like getting up to grab it, and that is Begin Again by Emma Lord. Emma Lord, I feel like is very underrated. She has one popular book, and that is Tweet Cute, that you might have heard about. But I feel like her books are very underrated. I particularly liked Begin Again. It like follows this girl who's going to this new college for like a fresh start, and then her boyfriend, she's going there not only for a fresh start, but because her boyfriend goes there, and then when she gets there, her boyfriend isn't there, and like something happened with him, and she's like trying to figure out like what she should do, what's like best for her. And it's very much like coming of age with the romance side plot. I feel like that's how I would, it's like 60-40 coming of age romance. Like, the romance I wouldn't say is totally a side plot, but I definitely don't think it's the main plot, and there's more of it than you would find in a, oh, I think my neighbors are home. There's more of it than you would find in like a regular coming of age story, like Kate in Waiting. Okay, wait, actually no, Kate in Waiting by Becky Alberti. That one is another like one of my faves. That one is very much, that one's like 70-30 romance coming of age. Like, it's very much more like character and friendship focused rather than romance focused. But Kate in Waiting and Begin Again, if you're looking for something more coming of age, more like personal rather than romantic. Like, they're a lot less tropey, if you get what I'm saying. Anyways, I don't know how much of what I just said actually made any sense, but I do hope that this helped somebody find something to read, I guess. I hope I helped. I hope I could be of service. If not, I hope you were at least somewhat entertained. If you were, maybe consider liking the video. But I can't force you to do anything. So yeah, I'm gonna go put these books away. I will see you guys next time, hopefully next week. And yeah, stay lit. Goodbye.